Salute! Welcome to this very brief video on vocabulary building. These are just a couple of tricks to help you improve your English vocabulary based on Latin and vice versa. So all of the words that we have in Latin that end in tudo are third declension and they're feminine. If you see any words in English, almost any word in English that ends in tude, T-U-D-E, like altitude or something like that, it most likely comes from a third declension Latin noun ending in tudo. So if you see altitudo, altitudinous, you can see that it's feminine. You can see that the is in the genitive singular ending tells you that it's third declension. Okay, and this is where we get height and depth and obviously the word altitude. If we take latitudo, latitudinous, same thing. This gives us the word latitude, width, or breadth, and again, there's that marker that tells you it's from the third declension. Longitudo, longitudinous gives us length, where we get words like longitude, longitude. Pulchritudo, pulchritudinous is pulchritude or beauty. Gratitudo, gratitudinous, you don't even need to be a Latin student at this point to know that that's gratitude. Solitudo, solitudinous is obviously solitude. A more difficult word like lassitudo, lassitudinous, well, even though we don't know what it means, we could still figure out that in English it's probably lassitude. And you might say, well, I still don't know what it means. LASS, when you see the double S, it sometimes it's a sign of a Z or maybe an X. And this is actually this comes from the word lax or lazy. Lassitude is just indifference, like you don't care. You're not going to be concerned about it. You have a lax attitude. Dulcitudo, dulcitudinous is dulcitude, which means sweetness. Dulce and dolce are Spanish and Italian for sweet. Lenitudo, lenitudinous, lenitude, which means leniency. And look at this really long one here. Verisimilitudo, verisimilitudinous, another feminine third declension noun ending in tudo, is verisimilitude, which means appearing to be true. This unlocks so many words for you. And it's very simple. You're looking for the tudo in Latin and the tude in English. And there you'll be able to make a huge vocabulary connection. Another interesting thing to note is look at those yellow endings, tudo and that nis in tudinous. Tudo is picked up by other languages and it becomes hood, like childhood, neighborhood, brotherhood. So even though those words that I just uttered may not come from Latin, the ending survives and is picked up and used in other languages. And nis, here in altitudinous, it just means of altitude, like many meters of altitude or something like that. That nis comes into other languages and into English as this here. So even if we don't find words that are directly coming to us from Latin into English, we can still see that Latin feeds into other languages, which also give words to us. The other one that I wanted to show you is regarding agent nouns. Agent nouns are nouns that are based on verbs, and they usually tell us something about one's occupation. So if we take amo, which is I like or I love, and we go to its fourth principal part, amatum, break off the fourth principal part ending, and replace it with an OR, we'll get amateur, which comes to us from French as amateur, one who does something because they love it, an amateur. Video is I see or I watch. The fourth principal part is visum. And we break off that ending and we get visor or visor, one who sees. Your supervisor is one who looks over you, over your shoulder. Specto, spectatum, break off the add the or, and you get spectator, a spectator. And I'm saying these in two different ways because these are Latin and they're English. Ago is I do or I make or I take action. Actum, we break off the ending and we get actor, one who acts. Scribo, scriptum, scribo is I write. Scriptor is a writer, a scripter. We also have words like descriptor. Invenio is I find. So inventor is one who finds or invents. Doceo is I teach. Doctum will become doctor. And there we go, one who teaches. Vendo is I sell. Venditor is a vendor, okay, one who sells. Simulo is I pretend. Simulatum becomes simulator, a simulator, one who pretends. Moneo is I advise or I warn. Monitum becomes monitor. Your computer monitor advises you on what's happening inside of the machine, the things that we can't see. A hall monitor warns people to get off their phones and get back to class. I love that. Audio, auditum. We break off the and we get auditor, an auditor. Someone who listens to you. They might listen to you explain how it is you drive a nice car when you barely make any money. A rogo is I ask. Rogatum, break off the ending. Rogator, which may not mean anything to you yet, but we get interrogator, one who asks questions. These are all masculine and they're all from the third declension. Okay, so we've just seen how the third declension can be of explosive use to us in our vocabulary building. Okay, both in words in the fourth principal part of verbs and in words that end with tudo. And sometimes these words will pass through French, and instead of OR, they'll become EUR, okay, like amateur or something like that. We get a lot of ER words from German, but the idea is the same. Agent nouns are made by these endings. Spanish will give us a lot of era, like guerrera, the fighter. Okay, so all of these languages are connected and they all have the same DNA, the same Latin DNA. And that's it for today. Walete.